Format players, it's Skill Brown Magician here, and I'm back with King Collapse. Ever since my last Warrior deck profile from over 2 weeks ago, I've been building this deck, so I'm particularly proud of this thumbnail and cover slide because we gotta represent the Ojama boys and our featured card for today, Ojama King. So I gotta say, Joey805X 1997 gave me the hardest deck I've had to build on the channel so far. He said, bro, do something based off Ojama King. This deck has been haunting the back of my mind for weeks. Literally, whenever I would daydream about GOAT format, I would wonder to myself, how am I going to tackle the Ojama King deck? I really struggled to find a way to include such a unique boss monster into an actually playable deck. So I hope you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think of the spice. We're almost at 700 subscribers, by the way, and I will be dropping a very special profile for that. Support your boy. Also, what kind of Halloween decks could I make for GOAT format? Leave me a comment below, and the most liked comment will be built for October. First off, we have to get into our fusion monster Ojama King for this to be an Ojama King deck, like Joey wanted, so we go for the Stein route. We include Mystic Tomato to float into Stein during the end of their battle phase. We also have Sangan to search it to hand as well. This gets us into Ojama King, whose effect reads, select up to 3 of your opponent's monster card zones. As long as this card remains face up on the field, the selected zones cannot be used. Not only does he have a cool effect, but he has a huge defense at 3000. I know you may be thinking that Stein summons King into attack mode, but I run some cards to protect our boss monster from being run over when he's vulnerable in attack. Then, you combine King's effect with a continuous spell, Ground Collapse, which has the effect, select 2 monster card zones on the field. You cannot select a zone occupied by a monster card. The selected zones cannot be used as long as this card remains face up on the field. When you combine the effects of these 2 cards, you completely negate your opponent's ability to summon. Obviously, you do need specific cards to run with Ground Collapse. Fortunately, another card that perfectly fits the theme and takes up 3 monster zones is Ojama Trio, which produces another 3 Ojama tokens to clog our opponent's board. I do run a spicy engine with Cat of Ill Omen, which you will see right now in the profile. So, this is King Collapse. It's running a small monster count at only 8 mons, then 12 spells, and 20 traps. I'm really proud of this deck because it's, in my eyes at least, a logical way to play our boss card in Ojama King. His effect, along with Ojama Trios, are built to dismantle our opponent's game plan, which is to attack our life points for game. Ojama King and Ojama Trio both block 3 monster zones, which when you combo off with Ground Collapse, can block all of their monster zones. You do not get to play decks like this regularly, where your opponent cannot even summon. The first group of highlighted cards are all the key combo pieces to the combo I just mentioned. When I said I wanted to play Ojama King logically, what I meant was that I wanted to create a playstyle around him that fits his effect. So I took the core from a burn deck, since we are already playing a burn staple in Ojama Trio, and reconfigured it to fit around Ojama King. In this set of cards, I neglect to play things like Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B, or anything that is basically used to prevent attacking. I use my Ojama Kings and Ojama Trios to prevent attacking, and my game plan is to burn them for game while they are helpless but to watch. It's a pretty nasty strat, and if you can access your Solemn Judgments to block their outs, it can be a super awkward and unwieldy deck to play around. Not having the ability to summon monsters blocks flip effect engines like Magician of Faith, prevents banishing from graveyard to special summon, and halts beatdown or aggro playstyles. And before I reveal the spice, if this vid gets 20 likes, I will post some replays of the one and only Ojama King in action. And lastly, the spice I elected to run in my King Collapse build was the tiny engine of 2 Cat of Ill Omen and 2 copies of Necro Valley. Cat of Ill Omen's effect is, when flipped, Select one trap card from your deck and place it on top of your deck. If Necro Valley is active on the field, you can add the selected card to your hand. I opted for this engine in the build because half of our main is traps. Also, when I was running previous versions of this build without Cat of Ill Omen, I often found myself missing just one key trap card, whether that was a Solemn Judgment to guarantee our lock, a Just Desserts for game, or even for Nightmare Wheel to have more disruption during our opponent's turn. Cat of Ill Omen fulfills this need for us, and being able to potentially search a Solemn Judgment directly to your hand is just one of the coolest plays you can make in this format. Also, Necro Valley is just the best field spell in Go. By having another way to block Magician of Faith, prevents Chaos Summons, Premature/Call of the Haunted plays, and any graveyard shenanigans. Having Necro Valley up, plus Ojama King, is extremely satisfying with our lockdown style of play. Also, it adds another layer to the lockdown that we can build with this deck. If you've been enjoying the deck and the card analysis, please leave a like, comment, and sub if you are a fan of Ojamas in Go format. Alright, for the stratagems for this deck, here are the top 3 key points. First, use Stein's effect before you solemn anything. Obviously, this happens in an ideal world, but won't always go down this way. That's why the inclusion of the core of the burn deck can still help us to win, even if summoning Ojama King isn't an option. Second, use Solemn only if it absolutely threatens your board or lock. A tip is if your opponent has a lot of cards either in hand or set, means they still have potential follow-ups. In the mid to late game stages, our opponents will have less resources, so it'll be easier to determine what the true threat is and when it is appropriate to flip our Solemn. Essentially, use Solemn to say to out whatever out they have for our board. Third is to have fun. Ojama King is not the craziest, most overpowered boss card by a long shot. Add a craft a super specific build to even fit him in a way that synergizes with his effect. Would I have liked to use Shield and Sword to switch him into a 3k beater to attack for game? Yes, definitely. But would I ever get to do that? Most likely not. So here's my best take on Ojama King in 2023. Let me know what kind of Halloween decks I should start preparing for the month of October. The most thumbs up to comment will get their idea built and put out onto the channel. See you in the next one, y'all. Peace.